Adam Savage here with Tested. As regular viewers of Tested know by now, I have a book out through Simon & Schuster's imprint Atria. It is called Every Tool's a Hammer, Life is What You Make It. I spent a long time writing it. I'm really happy with it. I can't wait for you to read it. Every time I read something by someone who makes stuff, it makes me want to make. And so if the book makes your hands itch to get to the workbench, then I've done my job. And it is, it's partly instructional about shop technique. It is very autobiographical, the ways in which I learned the lessons that I now know. And it's also philosophical, how a shop develops. I realized at some point in my life that every shop is the externalization of somebody's philosophy about how to work. But one of the stories I do not tell in the book involves this object. And this object is the very first thing I ever built in a shop. Because in 7th grade, when I was 12 years old and I got to middle school, there was a shop class and they had drill presses and they had saws and they had jigs and they had clamps. And this was some of the very first advanced technique that I learned. And of course, we made the standard bookshelf that everyone made. Our version was 2 nesting squares that crossed in the middle, like a Venn diagram of squares. Everyone made one. You cut your wood so it joined like this, and you nailed it and glued it and then stained it and sealed it. And then for the second semester, my teacher was like, "What do you want to build?" And I grew up on the Little Rascals. They were on constant repeat on television when I was a kid. And if you don't know the Little Rascals, look them up. They are deeply formative for a whole bunch of boomers and Gen Xers. They are also hugely problematic in all sorts of ways now that I can't predict, but I'm sure they are. But one of the things they had in one of the episodes was they're driving around. These kids are all driving around a Model A Ford, and they have this extendable boxing glove. Instead of a horn, there's this boxing glove, and they pull this lever, and this boxing glove, boom, goes out and like punches people. And I wanted one of those. And I kind of understood how it was made with accordioned pieces of steel. So my shop teacher let me make this. And it's not perfect, but thank goodness I still have the first thing I ever made. This is about a dozen pieces of steel, all cut to size using a hacksaw by hand. And then each of the holes drilled. And as you can see, my drilling was not regular. I was clearly not measuring the distance carefully between these things. It is very much a plus or minus game here. And I didn't have a boxing glove, nor could I afford to purchase a boxing glove back then. I mean, it was like probably 15 bucks at the Army Navy store or at the thrift store, and that was way more than a 12-year-old had access to in 1979. So I ended up making it a pincer, like a fireplace poker. And I am still thrilled. I still have the same thrill. When I first put it together and hand hammered all these rivets, as you can see, I've replaced one of them because it broke a few years ago with just a little, it looks like a 632 button head Allen screw. But all of the rest of this was made in 1979. Now I will tell you that if you reach out to grab someone with these and they move away, as they move away, they pull the pincers tighter and tighter and tighter, and they leave a really nasty bruise. So don't build one of these, and don't, by all means, by any means, go and pinch someone with them, because they'll be really, really, really mad at you. Don't ask me how I know. For more stories like this, pick up my book, Every Tool's a Hammer, Life is What You Make It. It is packed chock full with stories of how young Adam got himself into trouble and learned life lessons, getting himself out, or in some cases, not getting himself out of trouble.